Hey, Scott here from justgetoutmore.com. I'm currently on a road trip and I'm camping in my Subaru. I've gotten a few questions about exactly how I'm doing it, so I figured I would take a few minutes to give you a quick tour. So, this first bit is what the car looks like when I'm in driving mode. So, here we are at the back of the car. You can see a few major items here. The first is the cooler. Now, I keep a blanket on top of the cooler to help keep it insulated. And next to it, and with the seat down, the 60 part of the 60/40 seat is where my bed is. I just keep this ready to go all the time. So here I've done a couple things. My first time with this, trying this configuration, but we have a self-inflating mattress, kind of a cheap one. Then I have this 4-inch topper. It has this kind of weird mattress pad over it. This is literally cut from our bed at home. When we upgraded beds, we took that off and tried to make it into something that would work here in the car. I happen to have a nice kind of Pendleton blanket there, and then of course a sleeping bag. I also keep a couple other cheap blankets nearby so that I can pull them up over my head and block out any light or breeze or anything else like that. Right now, because I've changed today, I have long pants and a jacket. I'm kind of moving from low elevation to high, so I wanted that handy. So that's kind of what it looks like in the back. Swing around here to the side. Now, in driving mode, this is where I keep my food. So this whole bin is food and snacks. And then down here, I have my backpack, which has my laptop in it, although I haven't used that at all this trip, Kindle, other electronics cords, stuff like that, power cords. I have a couple other jackets here. I'm just keeping on top of the food for right now, just for easy access. And then, of course, the bed is there. I keep a few things in here that I'll talk about in a few minutes. And let me swing back around to the other side. So on this side, it's basically just the bed, except you'll notice that down here, I have my toiletry kit. That often kind of goes in the center too, and this is my dirty clothes bag. It's great to have a bag that cinches shut for your dirty clothes, because if you're spending a lot of time in the car, the last thing you want to do is smell your stinky socks. Now these are all of my clothes. You can see I have them in kind of an REI version of a packet, and I keep them not in a duffel bag. I keep them separate in these little bits. So like these are shirts, this is boxers, these are pants and shorts, and then I got another one over here that is socks and such. And then I have a sleep shirt that I tend to wear when I'm sleeping in the sleeping bag. Now I keep these separate and not in a duffel bag because it's just a whole lot easier to get in and out to grab something. A duffel bag, you kind of have to, you gotta squeeze it through here and kind of a pain in the ass. So I prefer doing it that way. So you can see it's pretty easy to get in and out. One other little piece here is that I actually have the headrest turned around. It's backwards. So when the seat was up, it was facing out the back door. And that just helps provide a flatter surface for that. When I'm in sleep mode too, I bring this back just a little bit. I put this forward a little bit to give just an extra inch or two. A couple other things you might have noticed here. These are really cheap doormats. I think they were like 59 cents or 79 cents at IKEA. Anyway, I sometimes bring these camping so that I can put them on the ground if I'm changing real quick, so I don't actually have to get in the car. I can just kind of do it between the doors. Keep a headlamp over here. Spot for my glasses, although frankly, I'll show you what I tend to do, but I have that just in case. Now up in the front seat, you'll probably notice two main things here. This is a 4-gallon water jug, Aquatainer. You're probably used to seeing the 7-gallon ones. I really like the 4 instead. It's a whole lot easier to use. I rarely need 7 gallons without a refill. I keep some maps. I'm headed here in a little bit, so I have that out. Here's my kind of trip itinerary. Got some other maps. And then a notebook that sometimes I can scribble some notes. And then Jolly Ranchers, which I probably eat way too many of on road trips, but hey, so it goes. Now this bin here is actually full of all my cook stuff. Get the lid off. And so this is what I use to cook. This is all kind of my camping stuff. This is a trowel and toilet paper. Keep that on top if you really need it. And then I'll go through all this in a separate cut, but that's where all this lives. It's pretty easy to take out if I need it. And then not much to see on the driver's side. Just, your kind of standard thing. I do keep on the far end there a water bottle I can get to, a little towel that I can dry my face off if I rinse it in like a gas station and they only have hand dryers. And I keep my camera over there too. I haven't been using that a lot on trips recently. Now we have these little hooks. You'll see a couple on the other side. I've swung this around so that I can keep my hat there. I kind of put it on here and there when I'm driving, so I like that there. And then I also happen to have an umbrella stashed right there. Oh, and I should also mention over here that I have hand sanitizer, which is useful. So let's take a look at the setup for when I'm sleeping. All right, so I've converted this to sleeping mode. You can see that the primary difference here is in the passenger seat. I've moved the bin full of food as well as my backpack, and I put the seat forward just a notch or two. So let's take a look at what that looks like. Now on the back, one other thing I do is I take all of my jackets and I just toss them on top of the cooler here, and that's just to be able to get them out of the way. They're still easily accessible when I'm in here, so if I need to put them on before I get out, for instance, if it's raining or just really cold in the morning. I also flip this over the bottom of my sleeping bag, try to keep my feet a little bit warmer. And of course I have extra blanket here, and this is actually a down blanket too. So that's useful there. And I should have also mentioned that back here I actually have a hammock, and behind the cooler I got a few other items too. Backpack, this is a collapsible bucket that I use when I'm camping, and then I have a jump starter. I have a lot of other emergency equipment underneath where the spare tire is stored, but I won't go through all of that here. So as you can see, it's pretty comfy there. Now, getting in this side, you can see that I now have this back rear seat totally open, and I really like it that way because I like being able to sit inside and then get into the bed from inside the car. So I can lock up the car, close everything up, don't have to worry about bugs, and then I just hop in here. I can also use this to eat. I have an item up here I can show you in a minute that like a little tray, so I can sit here and eat. I could watch a movie. I could push this seat forward. This is always open as well, so I can actually climb from the bed into the driver's seat and drive away if I need to without getting out of the vehicle, which is nice during downpours. And then of course the sleeping situation here, and as you can see I can also get to all of my my shoes and other clothes and toiletries without having to get out of the car. And the whole point for me is not having to get out of the car. Now, one thing that you may notice over here is I have this is almost like a sock that's made of net mesh that you put over your windows, and that allows you to roll the window down. Here's the edge of the window, and I might roll that all the way down, might not, but I can let some of the air out to get a little bit of a breeze while I'm sleeping, try to eliminate the fog that results in the windows when you're sleeping inside a vehicle with no ventilation. I'll usually do that with both the rear side windows, and I also have ones that I could do the front windows if I want. If it's a warmer night, I'll keep all the windows fully open, and this works pretty well. These are about $10 or so for a pair, and when it's closed, you don't really notice that it's on. Like if somebody's driving by at night, they wouldn't even notice that you have the window open or that this is on it. And you could make this a little bit more taut to make it a little bit less obvious too. And so that's my setup. It's pretty easy. I don't have to get out of the car to do virtually any task. I can sneak over the console there and grab a little bit of food if I need. I can't really cook anything inside the car, but nor would you want to. I can also get to the cooler from where I'm laying down. So that's I guess a quick tour. And this is a pretty easy way of traveling, of road tripping, camping. If you're doing a long road trip where you're doing a lot of driving and you're not spending a lot of time in camp, where you might want to have a campfire and sit around and hang out, and you're just kind of showing up to camp somewhere, this works pretty well. I could also stealth camp pretty easily in this because it's not obvious that it's anything but just a parked car. I have a sunshade I'd put up in the front. I did not bring the blackout window pieces I have, but you can easily make those. You could easily just get a piece of dark fabric, cut it, and then just have it sit right on the edge of the window and roll it up. So there you go. If you have any questions, give me a shout. I'd be happy to help. All right, so I figured I'd show you what lives in this camping bin for the road trip. Now, I usually keep this in the front passenger seat floor where your feet would be if you're a passenger in the car. I put it right in front of the water bin that I use. So let's take that off, take a look in. Now, this is mostly my cooking bin. So when I'm out and I need to do some cooking, I usually try to only cook one or maybe two meals a day, snack the rest of the time. So this bag here is basically all of the utensils. Kind of hard to open with one hand. Got a knife. Let's see what else we got here. A spatula, scissors, can opener, bottle opener. Also has a wine thing on it. And then some silverware. There's a few other pieces that are in my food bin right now that are dirty. This is a nice little item that silicone that goes over a wine bottle or a beer bottle. Keeps it fresh. Got a spoon and then spices. So there we go. Just kind of push all this out of the way and clean it up afterwards. I have a lighter. Obviously need that for the stove. This is the stove I have. It's it works off of kind of the backpacking fuel style. And I won't actually set it up, but these swing out pretty wide. That fits onto the backpacking fuel. I also have a small adapter that works for those regular 1 pound green Coleman propane canisters, which is what I tend to use. This is a great little stove, maybe cost $18 or something on Amazon. Let's see what else is in here. Now I got a couple fuel bottles for it. There we go. And let's see, I have a Moji light. These are really easy. They kind of clip onto things. I use that sometimes in the car if I'm going to be sitting out. One item I forgot to mention is that I also keep a backpacking chair here behind the cooler. I have a number of towels here. These are kind of those quick dry towels. I like to use them when I'm like maybe rinsing my hands or something. Let's see, I got some TP and a trowel. Now in here, this is my normal car camping cook set. It's a nesting set. GSI I think makes it, but it's been a while since they produced it. Let's see here. Sounds like a big truck's coming by. Got a holder, another lighter. This is a coaster, but it's silicone, so I actually use it as a pot gripper. So we got that. Now, in this old Eagle Creek bag, I have some plastic plates and bowls. I don't need a whole lot because it's just me. I also have a few disposable ones if I'm eating something that's going to be really difficult to clean. And speaking of cleaning, I do have a kit to do dishes. I do my best to limit how many dishes I have to do. let's see, it's kind of hard to open this here. I have soap in here, I have a little scraper, and I have a sponge. Let's see, another towel. These are some trash bags, and then I usually keep a bunch of just kind of shopping bags in there. Some gear snake tie down. I just kind of got this. I thought I might use it testing out a few things, particularly with a tarp that I didn't end up using on this trip. Another Moji light. I tend not to use those Moji lights unless I'm hanging out outside the car because you already have kind of light in the car. And I have a couple different headlamps here that work too. This is just like a Tervis cup. I use that to make some hot drinks or to get refills of coffee from my gas station. And then here we are with some bug spray. And I have some Ziploc baggies. I have quite a few more Ziploc baggies I keep in the snack bin, my food bin, along with some clips in case I open something like chips. So there you go. It's pretty bare bones, pretty simple, but it's one way of cooking and having kind of the full setup on the road trip so that you are all self-contained. So there you go.